Welcome back, everybody. Mike here. A couple weeks ago, I asked the question if anyone would be interested in a video series on emergency preparedness, and the answer was overwhelmingly yes. So this is part one of that video series, and the intent of this video is just to get people thinking. And what I mean is, I want you to, if you don't mind, comment below on where you're from and what you feel the biggest threat to your everyday life is, whether it be natural disaster, maybe you live in California and you worry about earthquakes, or out west where all the wildfires are, or hurricanes in Florida and the Gulf and the Carolinas. And see, I live in western Pennsylvania. As far as natural disasters, we got it pretty good here. I mean, we get an occasional tornado, some bad thunderstorms. I guess the worst thing that we have gotten are some bad ice storms where I knock the power out for a few days. But as far as natural disasters, that's kind of the worst we have around here. So in my preparations for things, primarily it's all based on staying here. I really don't have to evacuate for anything that I can foresee. I'm sure there's a possibility, but generally my plan is to stay here. And you may have noticed in that intro, I was just showing some traffic and that Costco. Well, I shop at that Costco, my wife and I do, and every time we're there, the place is packed. And so it gets you thinking, it's crowded from the minute they open till when they close, 6 days, 7 days a week. And so in the area that we live in, now we have a bunch of property, but we're not far from Pittsburgh, and I mean there's thousands and thousands of people. But in this general area, there's no way more than 0.5% of them could be grocery shopping at one given time. But that place is always busy. So it gets you thinking, like if something bad were to happen or something would impact the way, all the trucks coming in, whatever, what would that be like with everyone trying to get food at the same time? It's crazy. And so, like I said, I just want to get people thinking. Like, here's some numbers for you that I did a little research and it blows my mind. There's 323 million people, give or take, in the United States. We consume 1.7 billion pounds of food every single day. That's unbelievable. And hardly anybody really grows their own food. So everything's getting trucked and shipped and bought at restaurants and grocery stores and things like that. Any interruption in service, I mean, it would be pretty bad. And it's amazing how it all works. It's hard to believe it works as well as it does. You think of fuel, if you need fuel for your car or your truck or whatever, you go and you get fuel. You don't think much about it. We take all this for granted. But in the United States, we use 19.63 million barrels of oil every day, refined into diesel fuel, gasoline, home heating oil, and all the other associated products that come from oil. But that works out to about 840 million gallons of oil every day. And to give you an idea how much that is, a tanker car, on a train holds about 30,000 gallons. So that would be about 27,000 tanker cars of oil each day. That train would stretch almost 250 miles. And we use that 7 days a week, 365. It's unbelievable. Water, on average, we use about 300 gallons a day per person in the United States. And obviously you don't need that much to drink and cook with, but that's showering, that's our water consumption, 300 gallons per person per day. So with those numbers in mind, you have to ask yourself, if there's any kind of major event that you can't get that stuff as easily as you do now, things would go pretty bad pretty quickly. So like I said, all I'm trying to do in this first video is get people to think, and comment below on where you're from and what you feel is the greatest risk for your area. As far as actual prepping goes, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the guy, that's right now hiding in his bunker somewhere, and 1 being a guy who thinks being prepared is, making reservations for dinner, I'm thinking I'm around a 7, maybe an 8, I don't know, somewhere in there. And it's not 100% what I think about all day long every day, but I just like to be prepared and plan for really anything, good times and bad. And I like to be as self-sufficient as I can. I think I mentioned in another video when I brought up this idea, I don't want to be the guy, standing underneath the helicopter waiting for someone to drop a box of food from my family. So I do what I can, and I think between everybody that watches these videos, it's a really good group of people. We'll start some good dialogue in the comments below, and we'll get this figured out. But it'll be interesting to see where everybody's from and what they feel is the biggest threat to their way of life. And then we can all kind of work together and get better prepared. Now there's thousands of videos online and tons of information on prepping, and it's actually overwhelming if you're just getting started. But what I want to do is try to simplify things into 5 videos and cover the basics, like food, water, shelter, home defense, and then more specific things for my area where I live, what we prepare for. So I'm kind of looking forward to doing this. I mean, it kind of brings us all back to light. This is September, which in the US here is Preparedness Month, I think they call it. So it's a good time for it, especially after all the hurricanes and the wildfires and all that kind of stuff. Hey, anyone from Florida, can you answer this question for me? Now, I don't live in a hurricane area. All we ever get are the remnants, what's left over. But you're watching TV, and watching the news, and there's people trying to buy like gas cans and generators like a day before the hurricane comes. I mean, if I lived somewhere where hurricanes are kind of a frequent thing, I would at least have some gasoline on hand, half a dozen cases of water and a generator and some fuel. I mean, that would be the bare minimum, I think, but some people don't think that way. I'm sure in Florida there's some very seasoned veterans that know how to, get through a hurricane season, but it just amazes me how little people are prepared. We go to, a grocery store around here, you'll see people buying like some meat, some vegetables, and something else, and that's their dinner for that night. I mean, I don't think they have anything else in their house. I'm just not like that, and I hope you're not either. But anyway, like I always say, if you enjoy these videos, please click subscribe, hit the like button. For anyone, here for the first time, this is a little different kind of video than what we normally do, but I think it's something worth talking about. And a lot of people feel uncomfortable talking about preparedness or whatever. I don't see why not. I think it's a great topic, and but we're going to go from here, and hopefully it'll be a successful series. And like I said, just get thinking about it, and don't let it take over your life, but everything in moderation. That's the way I see it. But that's it. Thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button if you enjoy these videos, and share them with your friends. Thanks. See you at the next one.